Spain experienced the highest of highs when they won back-to-back European Championship in 2008 and 2012, while also winning a first ever and their only World Cup to date in 2010. Going into the tournament in South Africa, La Roja were the favorites for the biggest prize in world football. The famous Golden Generation was arguably the best Spanish team ever put together, and it will take years before they manage to repeat that feat. It's 13 years now since that famous victory in South Africa, and several players from that squad have announced their retirements. But interestingly, we still have some playing. So, where are they now? Let's find out. The legendary goalkeeper was captain of the World Cup winning squad in South Africa and memorably kept 5 clean sheets, which is a world record, during the tournament to win the Yashin Award for Best Goalkeeper. He went on to make 167 appearances for Spain, the second most for the national team. He also enjoyed unparalleled success at Real Madrid, captaining the club to numerous titles in the process. He left his boyhood club in 2015 and joined FC Porto, where he played for 4 years before suffering a heart attack in 2019, which eventually forced him to hang his gloves a year later in August 2020. He then returned to Real Madrid in late 2020 as deputy to the general director of the Real Madrid Foundation, a position he still holds. Well, we all know him as a center back, but at the 2010 World Cup, he played as a right back for the Spanish national team. He was at Real Madrid at the time, a club he was named captain in 2015, interestingly replacing Casillas. Just like Casillas, Ramos enjoyed immense success in the Spanish capital, and after 4 Champions League titles with Madrid, he left for PSG in 2021. He spent 2 seasons at the French club, playing alongside a fierce rival in the name of Lionel Messi, and even won the Ligue 1 before rejecting a big money move to Saudi Arabia to return to his boyhood club Sevilla, where he'd signed a 1-year contract. He also called time on his international career in February 2023, going out with the honor of the most capped player in Spain's history with 180 caps, and is in the top 10 of all-time top scorers for his country. Before that, though, he featured in 10 straight tournaments for Spain, until he was left out of the team for the Euro 2020. The defender was one of the oldest players at the 2010 World Cup, and it does not come as a surprise that he retired earlier than most of the players. As of 2010, when he was winning the World Cup, Puyol was the captain of that Barcelona side that ruled Europe under Pep Guardiola, and without him, perhaps Spain would not have made it to the finals. He scored the only goal of the match as Spain saw off Germany 1-0 in the semi-finals to book a place in the finals. Even though he was not retired in 2012, he missed out in the Spain squad that won the Euros that year due to injury. He eventually called it a day with the national team in 2013 and hung up his professional boots a year later in 2014. He retired having amassed 100 caps for La Roja and will be remembered as being a one-club man, having spent his entire career at Barcelona. That same year he retired, he was appointed director of football by Barcelona but resigned in 2015. He was offered the role of sporting director at the Catalan club in 2019, but he turned it down. As of September this year, he was on his way to Andorra, where he would work with former club and national teammate Gerard Pique as part of the coaching staff. Pique started alongside Puyol against Netherlands in South Africa. He made his international debut for Spain in 2009 and went on to play for 9 more years before hanging up his boots, having made 102 appearances. He played a key role in Spain's success afterwards and was also successful with Barcelona. But we cannot talk about Pique and the 2010 World Cup without mentioning something about his love life. It's at the start of the 2010 World Cup that Pique met Shakira, and as they say, the rest is history. They stayed together for 10 years before splitting recently as a result of Pique's alleged infidelity. Immediately after the breakup, Pique surprisingly and hurriedly hung up his boots in December 2022. He is currently the president of the Kings League, a new format in football, as well as the owner of second division side FC Andorra. Definitely not a household name. The veteran defender is one of the lesser-known names in the team, but he made his debut for Spain in 2002 in a friendly against Paraguay. At the time they were winning the World Cup, he was playing for Villarreal, and that made him the only player in the starting 11 for Spain who wasn't playing for either Real Madrid or Barcelona. He later moved to Benfica, Espanyol, Northeast United in India, Lierre in Belgium, and finally Santa Coloma in Andorra, where he retired in 2017 at the age of 39. Fun fact, fact, he played every minute at the 2010 World Cup, and by the time he was hanging his boots, he had won 60 caps for Spain. He is currently working as a football expert. Busquets was the youngest player in Spain's starting team at the World Cup finals in 2010. He made his Spain debut in 2009 and walked straight into the starting team. He has since enjoyed some highs with the team, captaining them to the 2020 Euros as well as last year's World Cup in Qatar. He also enjoyed success with Barcelona, captaining the club following the departure of Lionel Messi in 2021, a role he played until this year, when he left La Liga for MLS in May. Interestingly, he joined Messi at Inter Miami. We all know where the midfielder is, don't we? Alonso played alongside Busquets in the middle of the park in a double pivot format, with Del Bosque looking to mix the youthfulness of Busquets and the experience of Alonso, who was at Real Madrid at the time. Alonso, who has won the Champions League with Liverpool, added another title in 2014 before making the move to Bayern Munich that same year. He retired from international football after that embarrassing World Cup outing in Brazil, having made 114 appearances for Spain, scoring 16 goals. 3 years later, in 2017, he bid goodbye to professional football and went straight into management. He started off at Real Madrid, where he was the youth coach for under-14 side before moving on to Real Sociedad B, where he left a year later after his side were relegated to the third tier. He then left last year to take an even more senior role, managing Bayern Leverkusen, and what a start he has had. Xavi was the midfield linchpin, the fulcrum of the World Cup winning squad, who effectively controlled the game with his wide range of passing skills. He was at the heart of midfield and almost always dictated the pace of the game. He was also one of the best players in the world at the time and came third in FIFA Ballon d'Or awards that year. He was also vice-captain to the Barcelona team and became captain after Puyol left in 2014. After helping Barcelona to another treble, Xavi left and joined Al Sadd, where he played for 4 years and kick-started his coaching career. He retired from international football with 133 caps in 2014 after that disastrous campaign where Spain failed to make it out of the group stages. He then hung up his professional boots in 2019. 2 years later, with Barcelona struggling, he was hired to try to get them back on track, replacing Ronald Koeman. He has transitioned nicely from playing to coaching, guiding the Catalans to the La Liga title in May. A La Masia product, Iniesta is regarded by many as Spain's greatest ever player. The same year they won the World Cup, he finished second behind Lionel Messi in the FIFA Ballon d'Or and was named man of the match in the final against Netherlands. He played a key role in Spain's victory, scoring the winning goal in the 116th minute and celebrated by removing his shirt to reveal a message to his late friend Dani Yark. He made his international debut in 2006 in a friendly against Russia. That was the last silverware he won with Spain, as he had unsuccessful attempts in major tournaments in 2014, 2016, and 2018. He eventually bowed out after the 2018 World Cup, having won 133 caps while scoring 15 goals. At the time he won the World Cup, he was playing for his boyhood club Barcelona, where he enjoyed tremendous success, before finally leaving for Vissel Kobe in 2018. He stayed at the Japanese club for 5.5 years, and left in the summer to join the UAE Pro League club Emirates, where he signed a 1-year contract with an option to extend. The versatile attacker was given a surprise start ahead of Fernando Torres in the semi-finals against Germany, and he kept his place in the final match. He was playing for Barcelona at the time, where just like many of the Barca players on the list, he enjoyed tremendous success before finally leaving in 2015 to join Chelsea. He was at the London club for 5 years, before his next adventure at Roma, where he spent just a season. In 2021, he moved across town to Lazio, where he still plays to date. He retired from international football in 2017, having played 65 matches for Spain, scoring 17 times. Last piece of the jigsaw for that victory's Spain team in South Africa. He scored 5 of the 8 goals Spain scored to win the World Cup, finishing as joint top scorer at the tournament. To date, he remains Spain's top scorer at the World Cups with 9 goals. Injuries affected his playing time with the national team, and he eventually retired in 2017 with 59 goals in as many games. Just before the 2010 World Cup, though, he had made the move from Valencia to Barcelona, where he spent 3 years before moving to Atletico Madrid, where he stayed for just just a year, but managed to lead them to that famous La Liga title. His journey continued, and he moved to MLS, and later Melbourne City, and finally Vissel Kobe, where he retired from professional football in 2019. He is currently the technical advisor and head of global football operations for Indian Super League club Odisha FC, and owns the DV7 Group, which manages several football academies across the world. Well, now you know where each of Spain's starting 11 players at the 2010 World Cup Finals is.